What's up, guys? In this lesson I'm going to go through frequency dependent sidechaining, which is a bit of a mouthful, but essentially what you're doing is instead of doing sidechaining the whole signal, we're going to just sidechain specific frequency parts of it, frequency ranges, sorry. So let's simplify that a little bit. If you've got a whole tune like we do here, so let's just quickly play this. So we've got this vocal, which is kind of sitting on top of our other elements. Who is talking about love anyway? And I want to sidechain certain parts of the tune to it, so the certain frequency ranges. A lot of the definition, for instance, in the vocal comes from this kind of range here. So we want to be sidechaining that part of the rest of the tune, but not sidechaining the low end, for instance. We don't want this to be ducking when the vocal's happening, because that's not really useful. So we're kind of doing more selective and precise sidechaining. And the tool I'm going to use to do that is going to be Trash 2, which is a distortion plugin first, I guess, but has loads of other cool features, such as this sidechaining tool that I'm going to show you. So first of all, we're going to set up our project to kind of make sense of it. So going to have our kick and snare in blue. Just going to name these. These are kind of hats and effects. It's going to be a lighter blue. Okay, so we've got the kind of chord patch, which is this guy. So we're going to put that in red for mid-range. This is kind of the way I do it. It doesn't necessarily need to be this way. And yellow for low-end content. In fact, we're going to put the kick into yellow as well, just so we know that's got low-end in it. Okay. And these are our vocals, which we're going to put in purple. Cool. So let's start rooting it a little bit. The main conflicting elements here, are going to be these chaps. There we go. Because they're sitting in the same regions as our vocal. So let's have a look at our vocal. Who is talking about love anyway? And look at our synths here. Love anyway. So yeah, they've got conflicting frequency ranges. So let's group these two things together that we're going to sidechain. So we're going to put these into a little folder. Well, not folder, just a group. So now the output of these two is routed to this group. So if we listen to solo the group, we've got that. Okay, so I'm going to put Trash 2 on this now. Sweet. So you're going to turn the trash element of it off and the limiter off. And then we're going to filter 1. So this is where we're going to do our sidechaining from. I'm going to unbypass it. Okay, so we're going to activate the sidechain. So now we can route audio to this, and it will trigger the envelope, which we'll be able to sidechain with. So it all looks a bit confusing right now, but we'll simplify it. So let's find our main vocal. Who is talking about love anyway? Yeah. Who is talking about love anyway? Yeah. So, in fact, let's just do that one now. So the kind of the body of the vocal. Who is talking about love anyway? Is it about this 200 to 600 region? Yeah. So we're going to use that region to trigger this little bell to reduce in volume every time that body exists. So obviously this is on top of our synths, so let's make it really dramatic. Let's get 200 to 600 we said, so it's fine somewhere in between. 330 let's go for. Let's make a really dramatic duck. So we've got the filter where it starts, which is the first node. So we've clicked on, we've got this clean peak 2, and we've got clicked on the modulation bit. And the target node is where the filter is going to go to. So let's make it really obvious. Make a massive wide cue. And yeah, okay, so we're going to have this vocal. I'm going to create a copy of it. Let's move these so things aren't getting confusing. In fact, let's create loads of channels just so we can't see it anymore. Okay, so this is our main vocal.
Who is talking?
And this is going to be the sidechain triggered version. So we're creating a copy of it. I'm going to put it in, sidechain trigger is going to be in green today. Okay, so
Who is talking about?
this is the channel that we want to be triggering our ducks. So we're going to isolate the frequency band that we ignore those. In fact, we'll just get rid of those. Isolate the frequency band that we were talking about. So we said it's about
Who is talking about love?
200 to 600 hertz. So we're going to get a low cut up to 200 hertz and a high cut up to about 600. Okay, so listen to that. Okay, so we don't actually want that to be outputted to the master. We want it to trigger this trash 2 module. So we're going to go to stereo out and put into sidechain. So this now is routed to the this trash, and it's going to now trigger this duck. So we've got it 332, which is about right. We want the envelope here to be triggered by a sidechain, so I'm going to click that on. So we can't hear it anymore, but you can see this line is moving down. So when the threshold is reached, when this gets loud enough to meet this, this filter is moving down. So let's listen to what that's doing to our kind of chord patch. So you can hear it really ducking down there. So it's a bit too obvious right now, but we want to kind of find the right point that's going to allow us to kind of not hear it too much, but let the vocal body come through. Obviously, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to do it really obviously. You'll want to be more subtle in real life, but there are a million applications to this, so you can. I thought I'd just make it as teachable as possible, and then you can kind of use the techniques and tweak them yourself. Okay, so that's one. We also let's have a listen to the vocal again. The definition is going to be found in.
Who is talking about love anyway?
I'm just going to increase that in volume actually.
Yeah.
Vocal processing and EQing is more of a different lesson, so I'll leave that for now, but we're just going to get some more highs on this.
Who is talking about love anyway? Yeah. Who is talking about love anyway?
There's some weird distortion happening, but I'll work that out a different time.
Yeah.
So
who is talking about love anyway?
We're going to take this top end bit, so about 1.5 to about 5k. I'm going to create a new sidechain trigger for that. So this is sidechain trig body. This is going to be sidechain trig. In fact, we can't read all that, so it's going to say tops and lows, or losed. There you go. Cool. So put in a slightly different shade of green. Nope. No again. Okay. So that's going to be the sidechain trigger for the high end part of this track. So we're going to have to create a new trash too on this group, which is our chord group. Okay. So let's go back into chord group, create another trash. Sidechain on, and we're going to move this up to about, we said 1.5 to 5k, so about halfway through that'll be about 3.3 maybe. So 3300, 3300. Cool. So this is now going to be ducking that frequency band. Maybe get a slightly wider cue. And let's have a listen. So this one now wants to be triggering the second trash 2 instance.
It's talking about love anyway, yeah.
So if we make it really obvious, we'll hear the high end completely ducking out when the high end of the vocal exists.
It's talking about love anyway, yeah. It's talking about love anyway, yeah.
So for like a pop mix, you really wouldn't want the backing to be too prominent. So maybe you could quite aggressively sidechain the chords and stuff to duck while the vocal is there. And the vocal feels a lot more up front now, as it takes more importance in the mix.
It's talking about love anyway, yeah.
You want to kind of find the threshold point. So this blue line is where the sidechain input level is, and the threshold is obviously where the sidechain is going to kick, so the compression is going to kick in. So, well, it's not really compression in this case. It's ducking in volume of a specific frequency band.
It's talking about love.
If this is all very confusing, don't worry. It takes a while to get your head around.
It's talking about love anyway, yeah.
So if we just take these trashes off, you'll feel the a bit more masking will be going on, a bit more frequency overlap, and the vocal might sit back in the mix a little bit.
It's talking about love anyway, yeah. It's talking.
So yeah, the whole thing it feels a bit more clashy.
It's talking about love anyway, yeah. It's talking about love.
So you have it, instead of sidechaining the whole frequency band of those instruments, we've just got slight ducks in various frequency areas. So you can do, if you want to be really precise with it, you could have, 6 trashes doing different frequency bands. I believe there's a plugin called Track Spacer, which essentially does what we're doing here. It splits the frequency spectrum into 32 bands or so, and sidechains each one individually based on the input of that same frequency band in the sidechain input. That's very confusing to say, but it all makes sense. You can imagine the amount of applications this has. So we could do it with the bass line, for instance, which is the yellow. Has more than just low end in it, so I'm just going to grab the analyzer again. Let's just click that and get span up again. Cool. So
It's talking about love.
oops. Baseline. So the kick really only has low end information in the about 40 to 50 hertz. Is it? Well, slide down from about 58 to 45. So we want to sidechain the baseline to that, but only in the areas that the kick, is conflicting with it. So for this note exactly, for instance, sorry. Yeah, they've got some information that's the same there. So on the baseline channel, we're going to get trash 2 up. Take off trash again, take off the limiter, get on the filter. Okay, so we said it was about, 50 hertz. So I'm going to type in 50 here. So 50 for the initial placement and 50 for the node location that it's going to go to. What's that called? What's that word? Whatever. Anyway, so we're going to get quite an aggressive duck there. Aggressive ducks. Okay, so slightly wider cue maybe. We're going to create a copy of the kick that is just that region. So if we didn't do that, the transient is the first part of the sound, and that would be the first thing to peak the duck, but that's not kind of what we want. The low end content is what we're moving around, which actually comes after the transient. So that's worth bearing in mind. Okay, so we're going to put sidechain in green again. Kick O sidechain. Cool. So instead of having routed to the stereo out, we're going to turn the sidechain on and route it to the baseline. So now this bit should be ducking this. There we go. make it even more aggressive. Now that kick's coming through really nicely. Let's make sure this is happening to all of them. It's quite a quiet mix, so you won't be getting too much distortion, but this will help avoid peaking your limiter. The release is set on quite long, so I'm going to get that quicker. And the attack actually is going to go really quick. Okay, so let's see what the snare's got then. So we've got this kind of pronounced 400 Hertz-ish body to it, which is going to make it a bit more obvious. 400 Hertz. Do that. There you go. So the whole tune kind of wants to duck around that a little bit. So let's route everything but that to a group. So we've got core group. I'm going to create another group here called all. So core group goes to all. Let's turn all down. No, let's not do that. Okay. So core group, stereo out. That wants to go to all. And anything that's not routed to the core group wants to go out there. So not the snare, not the side chains either. Okay. Where's that vocal? Ah, but down here. Cheeky. So they're going to go to the all as well. Okay, so if we turn all down, we should not be hearing anything but the snare now. Cool. So getting to the trash on there. And get the same configuration up again. So it's about 400 Hertz this time. By default, I've got my trash set up so that there is a kind of duck ready to go. So same things. We're going to have the attack and release very quick. Threshold down a bit. We can have quite a thin cue there. I'm going to create a copy of the snare that is just that 400 region. I'm just going to take that off. And then bounce it. So these are just a few applications that you can do, but you can really get a tan on this technique to have your whole mix moving around each other to get the right frequency parts gelling. So we're going to have this as snare body sidechain. I'm going to route it to the all trash. So we can see the whole mix duck in this region when the snare hits. Make it really obvious. This allows you to get really loud mixes where no two elements with the same frequency content are overlapping. So yeah, it's just another way to clean up your mix a little bit. There you have it. That's some creative frequency-dependent sidechaining with Trash 2, which obviously is an awesome plugin. Cool. I hope you guys learned something and you can apply this to your own bits. Yeah, sweet. I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys.